that when they get the money is when they're going to be happy. When they get the relationship is when they're going to find joy and peace. When they find the perfect vehicle, the perfect system, the perfect life, when they find it out there, when the economy shifts, when the president shifts, when Russia gets out of our hair, I don't know what is the thing for you, only it's all the external. It's the internal that makes the difference. You see, they've done tons of studies on this, and I'll tell you a little bit about how I teach. There's nothing that'll teach you that I don't experience fully. I don't just take the book knowledge and bring it forward and go, oh, I read this last week. Although I do read continuously, and I have one of the largest libraries and business libraries I know. Over 1,000 books that I've read over the decades now. Hard to say that, over the decades now. All the books and strategies and systems, and I've read them all, only I don't teach from that level. I take those strategies and systems, apply it into my world, prove that they work, and then bring them in and say, these work. However, everything I teach is based on science. It's based on the studies that have been done. It's based on the book knowledge and understanding these things work. I then applied it to prove it, and now I bring it forward. So when I talk about this isn't yah. This is true science. When you create happiness internal, you get greatness external. That's where success happens. They've shown that when you're smiling, when you're optimistic, when you're happy, you actually you create faster thoughts in your brain. Your endorphins kick off, and you're able to think faster, more clearly. You're also able to, attract more into your world. Your closing ratios. Let's get really detailed. The studies have shown that optimism will give you a 30 to 40% jump in your sales conversion. You want the best negotiation strategy of all? Actually be happy. Actually smile. Be an attraction factor. You will end up doing better and better deals. It's amazing. And the studies all prove it. So when we talk about the mind and the internal game, when you're optimistic, when you're happy, and you start with happiness, everything else, all your success follows from there. Really amazing. CPV framework number 2 is know what you want. How to decide on what you want. See, all too often we say, oh, I want abundance. I want financial freedom. I want to be able to go where I want to go, where I want to go, when I want to go. And the expressions are a little bit vague, if you will. You want to get really detailed on what you want so that you can actually hit your target. All too many people look like this, and they've lost sight of their target. They've lost sight of their way. And I got to tell you, it's really hard to hit a target that you cannot see. Really hard to hit something that you don't know the details around. So, for instance, if you don't know exactly how much money that you want to bring in this year, any amount of money will do, and your end result may be a little vague. You don't have a real clear, and you haven't written it down exactly how many deals you want to do. You may end up being a little lacking in your deal production by the end of the year. All these things follow suit. So what do you do about that? Write down what you want. Really be clear. So know your target and be specific. CPV framework number 3. And I can spend a whole day on each one of these because there's multiple layers in how these work. Only how to fully commit. So let's go back a step to go forward. So you want to propel yourself to a better future. You want to bring in more abundance. You want to double or triple your income. You want to have fun doing it. Maybe you want to build a team, and you want to create contributions to our society, and you want a step-by-step game plan laid out so you can follow it and do this over and over and over again for the rest of your life. You write down those goals, those targets, if you will, and you write them all down, you put them down in detail, and you say, okay, I want to get this in X amount of months, X amount of years. Now we get to your commitment. For all of you that have goals and you have goals written down, I want to ask you, of your top 3 goals, what is your commitment level on a scale of 1 to 10? What's your commitment level to creating those deals, to actually accomplishing what you wrote down that you're going to accomplish in the period of time that you said you're going to accomplish it? Can I get some shares as to, well, what, from a scale of 1 to 10, what's your commitment level to actually achieving those goals? Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, what is your commitment level? And a couple people can share. See if we got some participants here. What is your commitment level? And this is really important. You want to be able to apply whatever you learned today, write down a goal, and give me the level from scale of 1 to 10 on your commitment level to achieve that within the next 30 days, within the next 90 days, over the next year. Scale of 1 to 10. I've got a bunch of 10s, just not willing to die for it. Well, and I got to tell you now, some people think that that's an extreme, only I got to tell you, well, what is worth dying for? See, the challenge is that most people, was that Elise? And thank you for that. I will say, so my caveat is legal, moral, and ethical. After that, it's you willing to do whatever it takes, because that's how winning is done. Because here's the thing. You write down a goal and you're like, well, I'm not willing to die for it. Well, what other criteria are there? So I'm not willing to die for it. Okay, well, I'm not willing to work hard for it. Well, maybe I could justify that working late at night and maybe, pulling an all-nighter would be killing me, so I'm not going to do that. Maybe, and this is, and understand, I'm not looking to live your life. Everybody here, any of my advice, you're to decide. All that I do is create a parameter for you to really take a look at what's gonna do it for you. What are the criteria that you want to be living under? Here's what I usually advise. You're either playing at a 10 or you're giving up entirely, because there's really no in between. Because anything, most people say, either like a 6, 7, 8, or they'll say a 10. There's a few people that even say a 9. If you have anything less, and even the 9s, anything less than a 10, any little thing will throw you off course. Any little thing will get you stopped and stuck. Any little thing will create a fear factor, a chit chat in your head that'll shut you down. And that's the challenge, is that life is too short, that there's too much that you can achieve, and to achieve less than your fullest potential is, well, in my eyes, it's not only a shame, it's a sin. That we've got to live to our fullest potential, that it is our destiny on this earth to do that and to create that magnitude. And so I wake up every morning with that focus to live out my day, to live my fullest potential, to really strive to be the best that I can be. And that's full commitment. And in that way, creation happens. And in that way, the life of your dreams can really be created. Because if your life isn't worth fighting for to the death, what's the purpose of living? This guy's fully committed. He's going to hit the ground one way or the other. Sometimes hard, sometimes soft. He's fully committed. That's what it means. That's what it looks like in life. Be unstoppable. Kind of along the same lines, only it's keep on keeping on. It's that 100% commitment and never stopping. It's that 100% commitment and doing it every single day without ever giving up. You hit a roadblock, you hit an obstacle, you hit a fear, an anxiety. You keep moving forward anyway. See, Rocky Balboa says it best. It's not how hard you hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep on moving forward. I'm really clear that, well, it's to use some profanity. Shit happens to everybody. That's right. Happens to us all. And I'm a firm believer that no one gets spared. You know, this year alone, COVID hit us all, and it hit us all pretty hard. I know I was an outside speaker for that's how the majority of my business was on my coaching side of my world. And it was all from doing live events, all from outside speaking. And then COVID hit and it took away about 80% of my income in that arena. The same day, my wife was in for open heart surgery because she had a sarcoma in her pulmonary artery because of a rare cancer that she had contracted. And I thought I was saying goodbye to her. Those two things hit me pretty hard. That was just in March. We've been through chemo. We've been through the ringer. I built up my business back up to where it was, recreated everything, because even though I got hit, bam, bam, it was a double whammy. I hid, and I won't tease, I won't kid you. I hid for about 2 weeks. It was devastating. My wife came through the surgery, God bless. I was bedside with her, and we were doing awesome. She was such a fighter, is such a fighter. Highly successful. Everything's been great. She went through chemo, and she's looking great now. Has all her strength back, and we expect a full recovery. And at the time, it was hard. It was one of the hardest things I've ever been through. And yet, after about 2 weeks of licking my wounds, of feeling sorry for myself, I realized that this wasn't the man I wanted to be. This wasn't the person that I knew I could be. And I dug deep for not just myself, my children. I dug deep for my wife. I dug deep for all my clients, all my students. And I stepped up and I started being the leader that I always knew myself to be, that I went back to being the person that I had been doing before all this hit. And I said, this is where our life is. We face it head on and we keep moving forward. The shit hits us all. It's how you respond to it, how you react to it that makes the difference. Remember this, every champion was once a contender who refused to give up. Doug here is one of my students, and he has some great metaphors and some things about me that, well, I'll let him share and a little bit about our work together.
My name is Doug McGurk. I am from Lake Worth, Delray Beach area, Florida, southern Florida, and I am originally from New York. Well, first of all, Paul is clearly a talent and phenomenal trainer, teacher. One of the things I really appreciated about him is his transparency, his ability to unpack the hot dog, as it were, and be honest about it. And that is refreshing in this world. I've been in the personal development world for over 2 decades, and I've been with the best of the best, and he is certainly one of the best, and I'm privileged to be part of it. The benefit of the summit so far, besides the phenomenal training and so forth, is the group environment, the camaraderie, the genius. One of the things I've always said is I'm not smarter than all of us. Not one of us is smarter than all of us. And what's wonderful is the group experience and environment that he's created is priceless. And then, of course, you add all of the dynamics of everyone putting that in. Paul's doing a great job, of course, leading it, and it creates an environment that is very difficult to duplicate without having that space for it. I love magicians, and there's sometimes parts of me that go, I wish I didn't know. I've learned how to do magic, and I wish I didn't know sometimes how the tricks were done. And the cool thing about working with Paul is that there's the magic that he creates, and it's the ability to have that conversation afterwards about the magic and have the conversation in a way that doesn't lose the joy, the experience of the magic. So for me, one of the best things I got out of it was that opportunity to have that conversation and his willingness to share, because very few people will share how you make a hot dog.
Absolutely. We are here to teach you how to make the hot dog. What he was expressing is, I pull back the curtain and I show you exactly how it's all done. Everything's an open book with me. Everything is open to discussion, and you can ask me anything at all. When I talked about giving you that consult, and I gave you the link earlier, and I'm going to show it to you in just a moment, it absolutely, our conversations are going to be pulling back the curtain and saying, here's how it's done. Here's how to create your next steps, your next levels, and really talking straight with what is possible for you and where you can go with it. CBB framework, the last and key one is execute an action plan. Really know exactly where you're going and then how to get there. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people come and they coach with me and they expect that they, have got to know clearly what they're going to do, and then clearly what the steps are to get there before they would lock arms with me to move forward. And what I can tell you is that none of that is true. I'm going to talk a little bit about some case studies as we finish up here. And you can come forward with no action plan, no real focus on where you're going, and I'll help you through that journey. And so some of our conversation, absolutely, when you get on the phone with me is, what is that? And let's unpack the hot dog, if you will, and really talk about what are the components of your life that you're looking to shift and change? What are you looking to accomplish, and how can we get there? See, I've been going through this journey for a while and met some incredible people and decided I wanted to be a speaker and trainer and coach, and it really has turned me on, although I wasn't always this guy. I wasn't always able to spend this time and talk and train it this way. And I had to overcome a lot of fears, a lot of anxieties to step up on stage. And now it's one of the most comfortable places in the world for me. However, it wasn't always. And that's where I started this conversation is you too can do this. I got a chance to hang out and meet some great people, got trained by some of the best of the best. You might know some of these people in the real estate game. I not only got educated with these people, I then was able to jump the fence and share the stage with them. And then many of them hired me and my company, and I brought in a sales force and became their sales team. I ran their events, redid their programs, their packages. Anybody here that wants to do coaching, training, speaking, wants to understand the industry and how to propel in this and really make a magnitude, we can change that world for you almost overnight. And I've done that over and over again. And it's one of my key verticals, if you will, in helping people just do that and that piece, as well as the real estate, as well as almost any other business. So for all you that have multiple streams of income, I'm one of the guys to talk to that can really map out what works for you and what and how to really go through that journey. So these guys, and here's some of the proof of the pudding, some of the people I've gotten a chance to hang out with, both celebrities as well as speakers, trainers, coaches all around the world, actors. Some of these names you might recognize, just flipping through. Here's someone you might know, Sir Richard Branson. Got to hang out with him as well on Necker Island. That's his private island in the Virgin Isles. He's a billionaire. Got to spend a little bit of time. My wife and I have actually been there twice now and planning on going back. Here's one of the first times that we were there, and we were hanging out with a few millionaires, and Richard Branson, who's a billionaire. There's my wife in the middle having fun and doing the conga line with Richard Branson. Yeah, I wasn't sure I was getting her back. Richard Branson really liked her. And I got to tell you, Richard Branson, he's got 400 companies. Think he looks stressed? Do you think he started stressed, or he just developed this lack of stress after he got all his money? Start off thinking and being a millionaire, and that's when the money will come, not the other way around. Let's talk about that journey. CPB framework. Learn how to control your mind, decide what you want, how to fully commit, become unstoppable, and execute an action plan. You do this and you can create extraordinary, continuous, persistent results and really change your life. How to make all this possible, how to put this into your world is where I come in. I've been able to do that with my family. We've traveled is where we spent a lot of time and money. I traveled all around the world. Here we are in Palermo and Ireland, Dominican Republic. And sure, you know, people ask, oh, it's easy for you to say, but what about me? Well, I've helped people from all walks of life change their life. Doug was saying I can go from zero to hero with Paul. Curtis and Elaine Banks, they both came from corporate world. They actually are executives with Boeing Aerospace, and they came through my program to change their world. Elaine ended up getting promoted, and Curtis went off and became a speaker on financial wealth himself, and still travels to this day all around the country on speaking and training on that level. Again, Chris Phillips, I talked about before, in 90 days, we changed his life, and in the next year created $270,000. Anybody here is a realtor, and on the realtor side, we work with a lot of people in the real estate game. About 80% of my clientele are in the real estate game, and Walter's a realtor. We brought him from making, which was already extraordinary, $300,000 in a year, to making $300,000 in 1 month, and really changed his world and put him on fire. Leslie, same thing. We actually helped her understand real estate. She had no knowledge of real estate, introduced her to the real estate game, got her involved in Airbnb, and then really kept moving her. This was a testimonial that happened in the middle of COVID when everything was shut down, and I helped her really get clear with how to market in new verticals that gave her 3 bookings in 1 day. Paul Brown came through. He said, I would absolutely crawl over broken glass to train with Paul Finck. And in 1 year, created more passive income from $30,000 to $175,000 by tweaking some of his systems to create more. All this is possible. Barbara and Ken Tomeko came through, doubled their goals, brought them from 10 rehab flips to 20 in the first year working with me. And now they're one of my longest standing clients. We've actually gone from them having a net wealth of somewhere around $800,000, their testimonial, to having over $10 million. Now they've been working with me for the last 10 years. And now they're about to jump another 10 million to be over $20 million within the next 12 months. Who thinks that's a great testimonial? Who would love that journey? Give me a big J in the chat. And I don't have time, which is why I gave you Maverick time. Get the Maverick411.com. Get the Maverick411.com. And I want to come on screen here and share with you just for a moment. Go ahead and if you could put it in the chat, get the Maverick411.com and get real with you. You go there, you're absolutely, absolutely going to end up on a call with me. This is a one-on-one. This isn't a sell-a-thon process. This is get on the call and let's real talk turkey. Let's talk about what you really want. And I'm going to guide you through to say, okay, once you know what you want, and maybe you don't, and we'll talk about that. Once you know what you want, then we'll talk about, well, how are you going to get it? What tools, systems, processes do you already have? and what do you need to make that process work for you. Like I said, I've been coaching people all around the world, all across the United States, Canada, Europe, even South Africa for the last 15 years. Got a background in psychology and the human condition, as well as a strong background in business models and real estate, sales, negotiations. And I'm here for you. And I came on here with Linda to help her out and to help all of you out. Make the phone call, make the commitment, and this is really a gift. You'll see me in other arenas. Matter of fact, in my own event, I actually sell even this call for $500. So just to have the time with me and to spend the time. So please take advantage of this. This is a gift. This is straight from the heart. Let's get on the phone. You're not sure where you're going. You're not sure how to get to the next level. You're not sure what to do in the COVID challenge or really how to step up. Maybe you've already stepped up, and I want to tell you, I've worked with clients from just getting started to my largest client now has assets of over 250 million with 5 different companies. So, and everybody in between is who my client base is. So if you think, maybe you're already down the road a bit, or maybe you think you just haven't gotten started yet, or anybody in between, you're my client. You're the people I work with, and I'm here to help you get to wherever you want. So come on board. Let's spend a little time. Get the Maverick411.com. And you'll have a chance to not only make an appointment, spend some time with me, you're also going to get a free gift of 5-day Maverick time training series, which is, again, completely no obligation. There's no fee. There's no credit card you're entering. Just go ahead and do that. And it's my pleasure. Thank you so much, guys. Seti, thank you for the extra minute or two. I appreciate that. And Linda, like always, thank you so much. And tomorrow morning also, we'll be seeing all of you at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, and look forward to seeing you all back again. We've got a full day. I'll be back in the morning to help out and to introduce a few just incredible other speakers that are buddies and pals in the industry that can really help. And so absolutely come on back. Get the Maverick411.com. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Eddie.
Yeah, thanks so much, Paul. Really, it's a great thing to have somebody to get you to the next level. You know, part of the key for being successful is education, knowledge, right? Knowing what you're doing. The other part of it, though, is that, you know, we all have these challenges, and our biggest challenge is ourselves sometimes, right? And you got to get over the hump. But I got to tell you, you know, whether you like tennis or football or baseball, boxing, the greatest athletes, the CEOs of the most major companies all have coaches, because people can't get out of their own way. You can't see what's blocking you. You need someone else to kind of guide you. And Paul is a terrific person to work with.
Seti, I appreciate that. And I was just going to share that. That's how I developed my world. That's how I developed my life. You know, 15 years ago, I wasn't this guy, and I was really had to dig deep, learn a lot. And I did that by locking arms with people that were stratospheres, at least at the time. I looked at them like, wow, and oh my gosh, and really found a way to be in their world and hired mentors, coaches. I spent over $300,000 in my early years. And I know some of you are going like, are you kidding? And yet it all comes back, and it came back tenfold. And I'll tell you this, I spent it, I didn't have it. I borrowed every dime when I spent it, because I realized, and I started doing the math, that I couldn't afford not to, that I had to change things. Remember, I had 6 kids under 6 years old. I had to create a difference. And so I dug deep and really understand. And so one of the things I help people with is that financial equation, really understanding how to do things like that, to grab hold of some money and put it into our business for investment, Bramble to money put into ourselves for education and create that magnitude. And so that conversation is absolutely on the table for all of you that have that want to talk, is really what's happening with your finances and really how to step into the game even when you think you have nothing. How do you step into the game? I had 6 kids under 6 years old. I had nothing. We were already behind the 8 ball with credit cards, and I got into the real estate game and did about $5 million in the first 2 years in real estate, starting from zero with no education and no money. How do you do that? It's the rest of the story. So yes, educate yourself, get knowledge, get with the great people, get with all the people that we've talked to today. And I would love to talk to you further. Thanks, Cindy.
Yeah, you're quite welcome, Paul. Let's have that as the final word. Paul will be back tomorrow. I'm going to be on just as an observer because there's so much great information. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, how long you've been in the game, there's always more. So I'm not sure. Linda, do you want to say some final words before we sign off for the evening?
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to say thank you again for coming on. We appreciate you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. I can't wait for another day with you. See you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
See you tomorrow, guys.
Tomorrow.
and his team's going to be there. So just like they were at the private showing we did, special private, that's something nobody else really gets. Special program.
Yeah. Gee, there's still 27 people on here.
I can't believe somebody did. Is there anybody who stayed the whole time?
Yeah, there was a few, but people were in and out. There was about 60, 65 people all day, in and out. So they might have had 100 people.
So I got to tell you, I'm proud of my son. I'll explain why. He wants to go tonight. Those jump game places.
Oh, yeah.
And none of his friends could go. Yeah, I'm going myself. Try being a good cheer. He's going himself. Not letting others who can't go stop him from going.
Good. Good.
It's kind of
That's a good thing.
Like going to a bar by yourself, like dance